I know you told your friend you're not okay. And tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away, as you fade away.
Yeah, I'm about to fade away, cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Got a buildup of my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient, okay. Just let me be me and I'll stay out of your way. I can see the way you look at me, I'm such a disgrace. I never really asked to be brought into this place. You wanna love me? Well then baby I have a taste. All the highs and the lows, no you'll never be the same. I don't really wanna hurt you but I can't control the pain. If you're sticking by my side maybe we could be okay. Okay, maybe you could be the change I need today. I promise that I've never felt this way. I really hope that you will choose to stay through all the pain.
I know you told your friend you're not okay.
Hey guys, what is up? Hey Nun. Hey Cool Gamer. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna stick with this background or not, because I think maybe I overdid it on the pink. What do you think? It did. I was like, this might be cool, but it's kind of distracting. It's really bright back here, and plus every time I move, it's like all weird. Where'd I go? Oh, there I am. Did you want to come up, Nun, or do you want to just stay and relax? That's up to you. I'll put this link in just in case. You're doing the dishes. You like it? Not too much pink? I don't know. I was just looking through it while we were talking, and I'm like, I know there's like not motion activated, but animated backgrounds now, and I just wanted to try the virtual one. Do you like it for sure? Is it not too much? It's not distracting with all these stars. I'll just try not to move so I don't look like an idiot. Hey,
Hey,
it's pink up in here.
I think it's pretty.
Yeah, well, I was trying to get into the Christmas spirit. So my background, my virtual background here is Christmas balls. Yeah,
Speaking
the
of
pink is me.
speaking of Christmas, what do you want for Christmas?
I have no idea.
Oh, come on. My sister, my brother-in-law, and my nephews say I don't know every year, and I have to come up with ideas. Give me one idea. Something you really, really want.
I have no idea. I don't know how to think on that because yeah,
Do you
I
need
normally just get whatever my
new
son wants.
clothes? Need new clothes or new shoes, a new jacket?
No, well, I could do a whole wardrobe change, but I definitely not gonna ask for that. That's not something I really want either. Um, I don't know. I finally got new Christmas boots though, or Christmas boots. Wow, I finally got some winter boots, and I got them for $5, $35, and they're normally like almost 200. They're they were the Bogs ones. Apparently they're really good. I just heard about them. And my neighbor, we were gonna go together. I didn't go for some reason. I think I was sick or something. So she went anyways and just grabbed me a size 7, was like, here. And then I was like, hey, well, how much? She's like, they're only 35. I thought it was gonna be like 150. So I was happy.
That's a good deal.
Yeah.
Do you need like
I have my
anything,
2 front teeth.
house decor or something for your computer, for your job, for YouTube or anything?
I did need a mouse, but I got myself one, and of course it's pink too. It was cheap, and I got a warranty on it for 4 years. It was only like $4.99 for that.
I had a Dalmatian colored mouse when I
Mm.
had my computer. I gave it to
Yeah,
my nephew, and because it was too hard for me to sit at the computer anymore, so I gave it to my nephew. And but he said, "Do I get the mouse?" I'm like, "No, I keep the mouse,"
yeah.
because it was Dalmatian spots on it.
I went and got my teeth cleaned today, and then I had fluoride put on them.
How
So
they
that was
feel?
weird. Well, my teeth were like sticking. It was weird. Lasted like 2 hours. So speaking of front teeth, I have a little itty baby chip right here. Like, yeah, it's very tiny. So he told me that because of my grinding my teeth, how I have TMJ, that it's kind of rubbing the bottom part of my two front teeth to the point where the enamel's starting to come off. So it's getting very thin and chipping. So he's gonna fix that, and he's going to make me a new mouth guard. That way I
I
don't.
was gonna say you probably need a new mouth guard.
I do because it did work. It did work. It was amazing. And then I took it off for a few months. My teeth shifted, so when I put it back on, it was friggin' tight, but I didn't give a shit because my jaw was worse. Worst mistake of my life. I woke up the next day, and because it was way too smaller than what I thought, and I took it off. My teeth were like had a heartbeat in them. I swear, like all day long, it was just throb, throb, throb. Never again. So I'm like, threw that fucking thing out. I'm like, so I need a new one.
Yeah, when that happens, like with the small mouth guards, what happens is it can book all your nerve endings get squished together, and then when you release
Yeah.
that pressure, it's just like they feel like they're on fire.
Yeah, it hurts. It really hurts. So that's my next appointment for December something, I think. Tomorrow I have two appointments. I have to go see my doctor, then I have to get some forms filled, and then I have to go to the hearing clinic and finally get my hearing aid. Waiting forever for that. Like a long time. I lost it in the summer.
How did you lose it? Were you walking with or something?
I don't know. I have no idea. I remember putting them both in my purse. There was still one in my purse when I went looking, but the other one was gone. So maybe with me going in and out of my purse, I wasn't really going in and out of my purse though. Maybe when I grabbed my keys or something. So we looked. I was at my brother's and I was at my mom's. So everyone looked everywhere and nobody can find it. I have no idea where it went. No, my luck, his dog ate it.
How is your brother and sister-in-law doing since the loss?
Mm. She seems better. It's
Did
just
she
sad. I've never seen
did she
anything like that.
did she talk? Is she talking to somebody now, or she?
Not to my knowledge. She's posting every day about her daughter, which she normally does, but she's posting a little bit more now, I feel like. I think she's just missing what could have been, like with the baby.
Trying to fill that
It was
void.
horrible. Yeah, you know what I mean? We were
Yeah.
all excited for this baby. Like I was gonna totally steal that baby all the time. Like, I wanted to so bad. I was like, well, hell, if I can have kids, then great. I'm gonna be an aunt again. I can't wait. That would be amazing. That would probably help me spoil the kid rotten and wait for me to have grandkids in like 20 years.
Yeah, my nephew saved
Hi,
me. I'll
Laura.
tell you. After my
Yeah.
accident, I was like, in the very beginning, I got to be their nanny and take care of him and stuff, and it was, I don't know, those kids, like, they didn't want for nothing. They didn't, like, I was always with them, and I had
Yeah.
both of them come to me at separate times since they've been in college and said, thank you for being there for us because we don't know how we would have turned out. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's so nice to hear.
They're
Thank
such
you
good
for becoming
kids.
your member for 14 months. That's amazing. Sweet. Well, hi, Laura. Hey, Arby.
Do you collect anything?
I love crystals. I really like crystals. That's the only thing I can think of. Oh, actually, what I really, really love, really, really, really love is the vintage party light. Oh, it's amazing. I found some stuff online. It was on Poshmark, and I actually bought myself almost the whole set of the Moroccan spice. It came out in like 2003, something like that. And I never had a chance to get it all because it was Party Light's just so expensive. So now, like a migraine, between you and me, we get them a lot. Them damn migraines, Alberta. No, you get off of here then. Don't look. This will really make you feel like that because of these blinking stars.
I take Ubrelvy for my migraines.
You take what?
Ubrelvy,
Never heard of it.
Ubrelvy. It
I
works
gave
really
up trying
good.
stuff. I gave up trying for mine. I now use ice packs on my neck and the chocolates that my aunt makes me. Yeah, and that seems to do the trick.
Oh, do you like chocolate chip cookies and sugar cookies and stuff like that?
I do. I don't know. I love food. Yeah, I'm just not one.
Well, I always
No, that's
buy.
not true. I do like cookies. Never mind. I do because I like the President's Choice chocolate chip cookies. They're really good.
Do you like
Me and
Mrs.
Leland both
Fields?
wanted the white chocolate macadamia nuts are my amazing. I
Do you
don't know
have
where
you
the hell they are though. I can't buy them in here.
have you tried Mrs. Fields cookies at all?
I've had the white chocolate macadamia nut. They're good.
Yeah. Well, what I usually do, like for my sister and her family, I'll buy a box. It comes with like 180 cookies, all different
Oh my
kinds,
God.
from peanut butter, chocolate, double chocolate chip, macadamia, and peanut butter and peanut M&Ms, and oh my god, they're all good. And they have brownies and cupcakes, and
Oh
it
my
comes in a huge
gosh.
basket.
Wow. I didn't know that. Wow. Because I
I could
haven't eaten a Miss Fields cookie in years. To be honest, I haven't seen them anywhere. Not
I
around
could
here.
ship one to you. I could ship one to
I
you
don't-
for Christmas, and you could share with your kid. The
Yeah, it does sound yummy. I love Miss Fields cookies. That's crazy you mentioning it because I now I realize, oh my gosh. Yeah, they're gone. They're not around here anymore. You take Max Alt? Yeah, I've never heard of it. I can't remember the ones that I was on. I just gave up. But now I've got something that works. And it comes from the earth and it's called pot. I can't smoke it or anything when I have a migraine. Hell no. I find it just makes it, I'm just too messed up to do that. So I like to eat the chocolates that I get made for me. Really good. Almost
reason
halfway.
it's harder when you have a migraine to smoke is because you're constricting your blood, the blood in your system, and it as it travels through, it makes your veins
Yeah.
smaller. So, and when you have a really bad migraine, it's already constricted.
Yeah. Oh, I don't blame you, Alberta. Yeah, go lay down, girl. Get some ice packs on the back of that neck. Okay. You have a good night, girl. Aw. All right, now we're on to page 197, Mr. Anonymous. So as usual, I was anxious to find some way to verify everything I'd heard. With Whitson, especially my report crossed the line to conspiratorial territory, and I would be hard pressed to convert skeptics on the merits of my interviews alone. Of course, clandestine intelligence agents are exactly the sort of people who don't leave a lot of paper behind. And Whitson, by all accounts, was so savvy. He didn't need to take notes. I'd filed a Freedom of Information Act request, a FOIA, on the CIA, asking for any information on him. Their response said that they could neither confirm nor deny Whitson's connection to the agency. FOIA specialists told me that this is the closest one can get to confirmation that someone worked for the CIA. Alrighty, girl. I did eventually find cooperation in print, but it came in a strange form, a manuscript of an unpublished book called Five Down on Cielo Drive. Oh, that's nice. Nice title. Five
Yeah.
Down on Cielo Drive. That's so mean. Wow. Around 1970 or 75, before Helter Skelter, and thus before Bugliosi's telling of the Manson story had ossified into the official narrative, book had tortured his history, not least because it involved at least three authors. The most prominent was Lieutenant Robert There, who headed the LAPD's investigation into the Tate murders. Another contributor was Sharon Tate's father, Colonel Paul Tate. The third author was Roger Frenchie, Lajeunesse, an FBI agent who'd unofficially assisted the LAPD. It's not hard to see the appeal of the book for Helter Skelter. Here were three authorities on the case who gave rich account of it when no such account existed. They secured a contract publisher. When too much time passed without a viable book, a ghostwriter came on board, but by the time the manuscript was ready, those who had beaten them to the punch and Helter Skelter had claimed the mantle of official Manson book. I did not know that. Can you imagine if the other one would have came out first? Then all this shit wouldn't have happened, I think.
They probably would have bullied him and made him take it down.
The deal fell through. In the ensuing years, the Five Down manuscript gained a reputation among researchers and obsessives. It was exceptionally rare. Hardly anyone other than its authors had read it. And even though it was apparently tedious, it was rumored to have the most complete account of the LAPD's investigation, false leads and all. Another journalist passed me a copy. I read the parts about Colonel Tate especially closely. A retired military intelligence officer, Tate had mounted his own inquiry into his daughter's death, separate but parallel to the LAPD's. Many had told me that Whitson was under his wing. You wouldn't think that LAPD detectives would have been so keen on two outsiders helping them, especially given those outsiders' connections to intelligence, but at LASO, detective told me that Colonel Tate appeared to be running the LAPD. Then, in his mid-40s, Tate had only recently left the army. To mount his independent investigation, he tried to masquerade as a Californian, growing a beard and long hair, but he retained the upright carriage of military officer as he wandered into hippie clubs and drug dens in search of his daughter's murderer, offering a lavish reward to anyone who would help. How did Whitson play into this? The Five Down manuscript refers to Walter Kern, a somewhat shady character who can best be described as a police groupie. Apparently, he had been a friend of Jay Sebring and wanted to help in any way he could. Kern was always one step ahead of the other investigators. Helder wrote, "It's business, as you might imagine. A policeman gets to meet strange people. Kern was among the strangest. No one knew what he did for a living, yet he always seemed to have money and just knew about everyone on the wrong side of the tracks. I didn't like him, but he was useful." And he kept popping up. When Helder arrived to interview Roman Polanski at the Paramount lot, where he sequestered with Witold Kazanowski, Kern was there, lurking in the shadows. He sure did get around believing that Wojciech was involved with drug dealers who may have murdered him. Helder instructed Kern to cozy up to anyone who might know them, especially those in Mama Cass's circle, sorry. In another section of the manuscript, a Hollywood hooker is said to have spoken to Kern, who by now was well known in an amateur on the case. Kern shared leads and orders, and yet the man was so shrouded in mystery that Helder referred to him as Mr. Anonymous. It seemed to me that there was more to Mr. Anonymous than Helder had shared. By that point, Helder had died, but had already spoken to Frenchie, the FBI agent who'd contributed to Five Down. I called him to ask whether Walter Kern was really Reed Whitson. He answered, yes. In fact, the publishing deal couldn't have happened without Whitson, he said. Reeve Whitson was a part of putting the book together, linchpin between all of us. It was Lieutenant Helder, the lead investigator for the LAPD, who assigned Whitson the pseudonym of Walter Kern to protect his undercover status. Hardly step one would take with an ordinary amateur sleuth. Reeve didn't want his name associated with the book, he said. Even long after Manson case has been solved, not on the jacket, not even in the contracts, he didn't want money. In effect, I now had written proof from the LAPD's head investigator from Reeve's own father that Reeve Whitson was smack in the middle of the Manson investigation from the start. Wow. Lajeunesse didn't know who Whitson worked for, just that he was an astounding fellow who'd been an informant of some kind. He wanted to project an aura of mystery, Lajeunesse said, but the heart of his motivation was an anti-drug conservatism. He was invested in keeping young people away from the curse of drugs. Mike McGann, the LAPD detective whom I'd interviewed about the early days of the investigation, remembered Whitson's involvement too. He was heavily involved, McGann said, and he had no need for money. McGann was very credible. Still, when I said that Whitson had reportedly believed he could have stopped the murders, McGann laughed. Bullshit. He talked for 3 hours and never say anything. Typical government employee, a real good line of bullshit. If I could prove once and for all that Whitson was working for the CIA, even McGann might admit I had a story on my hands. The CIA wasn't even supposed to operate on domestic soil. What could they have been doing messing with an acid-soaked cult in Los Angeles? And if Whitson had been close enough to the murder to stop them, then why didn't he? Those are my questions too. Everyone agreed that Paul Tate was the key to the understanding. I knew that Tate was still alive, but getting him to open up would be a long shot. His wife, Sharon's mother, Doris, had been comfortable discussing the murder. Ugh, you stink. I hate when cats fart. Oh my god. It's disgusting.
Speaking of cats, how is your one cat?
She's doing amazing. Her paw, the vet called me yesterday to make sure, and I double checked it. There's no bleeding. There's still a little bit of swelling, but there's no bleeding or open wound or oozing or anything. It's just her paw is just a little bit swollen still.
Hmm.
This one's just ripping ones over here. I didn't hear it. I could smell it.
Just means they're real comfortable with you and they can do anything.
Oh, she's always up my butt. She's always with me. Dilly.
How did
His
you
wife
name her?
Sharon's mother, Doris. Pardon?
How did you come up with their name?
My son did. I got
Oh.
her when he was 6, and he named her Dilly.
Mhm.
I don't know where he got it, but it stuck. I thought it was cute. I never heard anything like that before. And it was weird. I was on Twitter, and I actually came across this cat, exact same breed as mine, a tortie named Dilly. It was so cool. I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, look at this. So cool. Look at there's Dilly, only it's a male. This one is female.
When my nephew was 2, we went to get him a kitten at the shelter,
Yeah.
and he was a big talker, like he knew a lot of words and he named things out and stuff, but one of his favorite things to do was vacuum. Like you'd get the vacuum, my sister would vacuum, and he'd had his own little vacuum and stuff. So when we got the little kitten, he picked it out, put it in the car. What do you want to name it? Vacuum.
Oh,
It was funny. It was
Tiny
like, no, we're
vacuum.
not gonna call her Vacuum, but he said no. We called it Baxter, and he was like, okay, but
Yeah,
I
it's
just thought it was
dude.
cute. He was 2. He just wanted to vacuum. One of his favorite things to do, and that was the cat's name. You know.
Aw. His wife Sharon's mother Doris had been comfortable discussing the murder. She'd formed a normal victims' rights advocacy group and mobilized it whenever anyone from the family was eligible for parole. Her friend said she believed there was something deeper than helter-skelter behind the murders. Like her husband, she conducted her own investigation through the years, becoming convinced that Cielo House was under surveillance of some type of law enforcement at the time of the murders. I'm starting to think so too. Whether she knew that Reed Whitson had claimed to be watching the house, we'll never know. She was also sure that her daughter wasn't supposed to be home when the killers arrived that night. Whoever was watching the house, she believed, had noticed that Sharon's red Ferrari wasn't in the driveway. It was in the repair shop and concluded that she wasn't there. She planned to write a book about her theories, but she never got to it. She was diagnosed with cancer and died in 92. Paul Tate, rumor had it, had never discussed the case with his wife. Before she died, they'd barely spoken to each other, having taken up in separate parts of the house. So her murder destroyed them. He hadn't spoken publicly about Sharon's death since Manson had been captured, and he'd already declined any interviews with me once. Already declined it one interview with me once. But I phoned him again in May 2000, telling him I'd gotten a copy of Five Down on Cielo Drive and planned to quote it. That got him to agree to meet with me. But as the date approached, he canceled on me. We rescheduled, canceled again. When he called to cancel yet another date, I tried to butt in with a question about Reed Whitson before he could get off the phone. He was receptive at first, anyway. Reeve was my main person to help me, Tate said. He'd been a friend of Roman Polanski's and Sharon's and mine and Jay Sebring's. He was very, very helpful. Even so, Tate found it ridiculous that Wits and friends were going around saying that he could have prevented the murders. That bugs me. If he's going around saying that and people are finding this out, what the actual, like, that makes me so angry.
Yeah, but I suppose if Sharon's dad thought of an ally, and then that's what he was portraying himself, it would be kind of hard to admit to that person that, yeah, there would have been a way to stop. You know what I mean? Like, he'd be.
I get that. I do. I do and I don't.
I do and I don't too. It's like,
You
it's
knew
kind of
people were going to die that night.
like you said the other day. It's like, everybody lies about something or whatever, but even if it hurts them, you still got to even tell them. But like with something with this
Yeah.
magnitude, I bet he had to have some serious guilt somewhere. Otherwise, he wouldn't have sent his wife and his daughter back to Sweden and then divorced them without, saying boo. And there
Yeah,
has
it
to
was
be
like
something going on
exactly.
that was putting them in danger, or making them a weak link to him for whatever he was
Yeah,
in.
exactly. Like he knew. Sure, he saved his family. Well, what about their family? That I don't know. I don't like him very much.
Because he's almost like he was being friends with Sharon's dad, but at the same time, he wasn't, because he knew other things, and that would have been much helpful in the beginning, and instead of just keeping quiet.
Even so, Tate found it ridiculous that Whitson's friends were going around saying that he could have prevented the murders. That simply wasn't true, he said. Could he help me clear it up? Having contributed so much to the investigation. I contributed, yes. Put in there, I contributed nothing. Were involved in the investigation, I said. You wrote a book about it. Yeah, well, did you ask Reeve to do the cover work or did someone else? I'm not going to answer those questions, he said, impatience creeping into his voice. Could he at least tell me who Whitson worked for? He refused. Why not? I don't have to tell you that, he nearly shouted. Out of desperation, I made a foolish mistake. Sometimes when I sense that someone was withholding something sensitive, I remind them, the person, that all the speculation about Manson himself, the basic brutal loss of human life, was too often first thing people stop thinking about. So I said, just out of respect to the victims, you don't think. Paul Tate sounded a million miles away to me. He had a gruff, emotionally detached tone befitting his military background. He was, first and foremost, Sharon Tate's father, a man who lost a child to an unimaginable horror, seeing her death become a kind of shorthand for tabloid atrocities. I'd forgotten that truth, and my comment, understandably, upset him. I regretted it right away. Out of respect for the victims, he shouted, what kind of fuck do you think I am? He laughed bitterly. You go ahead and do whatever you want to do, but if any son of a bitch ever respect the victims, it was me. I apologize, I said. I didn't mean to sound it the way it came out. Okay, he said, bye-bye. That was the end of my relationship with Paul Tate. The man who knew better than anyone what Reeve was up to, and he had died in 2005. The spy who came in from the cold. Heller had written that Whitson knew just about everyone on the wrong side of the tracks. The opposite was true, too. He knew how to pull the levers of power. Colonel Tate was just one of his friends in high places. Usually in the same breath, Whitson's friends named another military bigwig, General Curtis LeMay. As discussed earlier, LeMay was part of the unsettling story I'd heard from Jay Sebring's barber, Little Joe. One of Sebring's clients, the mobster Charlie Barron, had called Joe after Sebring's murder, pledging that no harm would come to the barber. Charlie Barron was a friend of Curtis LeMay, too. Between the two were noted by the FBI, who surveilled the Barron for decades. LeMay, former Air Force office nicknamed Bombs Away LeMay, had retired in 65 and turned to defense contracting, where one critic feared that he could be more dangerous than when he was in the Air Force Chief of Staff. He moved to LA to become the vice president of a missile parts manufacturer, but it fizzled, as did LeMay's brief political career. After that, Mr. Bombs Away had spent his retirement roaming the city with Mr. Anonymous. Anonymous. Oh my God. I had a few more connective arrows to the big whiteboard on my wall, realizing more than that its tangle of lines and circles made sense only to me. I never figured out what LeMay and Whitson got up to together. It was plausible that they were tied up in Charlie Barron's cable hall of White Wing Hollywood friends. The ones who Little Joe told me had done terrible things to black people. George Wallace who'd chosen LeMay as his running mate in his 68 presidential bid, was among the nation's most notorious racists. I'm sure he knew Barron. Whitson's friend John Irvin told me, a British film director who himself claimed to have ties to M15. Irvin and the Whitson got meetings within minutes at the highest levels of the defense industry. It was amazing. He was on the fringes of very far out research for the government, not discussed openly because it verges on the occult. He added that Whitson had a very good connections with the Los Angeles Sheriff's Office and pull with immigration officials. As Shackrock Tommy had said, but Irvin couldn't elaborate any of this. Then came Otto. Oh, she fell out. That's time I noticed. Then came Otto and Elsie Scorsese, the most sinister of Whitson's friends. There she is.
Why'd they keep
I
doing
saw
that?
you. I don't know, but I seen it this time, so I was like right on there.
I'm like, where did I go?
That is weird. I'm not sure why it does that.
It don't like me.
I don't know. It's annoying
After
though.
after the day I've had, I can't blame it.
Yeah. Yeah, we lost Nana and she's back now. She got booted from StreamYards. Then came Otto and Scorsese, the most sinister of Whitson's friends. They were Nazis, genuine, German, dyed in the wool Nazis. The United Nations listed Otto Scorsese as a war criminal. He'd been one of Hitler's most trusted operatives, leading the manhunt of one of the Führer's would-be assassins and spearheading a secret mission to rescue Mussolini. After the third fell, Scorsese safeguarded the wealth of countless Nazis and helped disgraced war criminals settle into new lives around the world. Brought to trial before a U.S. military court, Scorsese was alleged to be the most dangerous man in Europe, but he was acquitted, having made himself an asset to the U.S. intelligence. His wife, the Countess Elsie von Finkelstein, was once a member of the Hitler Youth. A shrewd businesswoman known for her beauty and charm, she negotiated arms deals with contracts for German engineering companies. Irvin had met Elsie many times through Whitson. When she got drunk, he said she was always doing Hail Hitler salutes. Oh my gosh. Whitson could look past any ideology, no matter how abhorrent, if someone proved him useful to him. His friends constructed him as the purest form of cold warrior, lifted from the spy who came in from the cold. He carried an outmoded 50s era politics into the future, masquerading as a hippie, infiltrating an LSD cult, and befriending Nazis to eliminate the scourge of communism and narcotics, the later being that, to his mind, a direct extension of the former. He believed there was an operation to stabilize American youth, one friend told me. Russians were bringing drugs into battle the American system from within. Having worked in South America, Sim believed we should kill the drug lords in Bolivia and their whole families. It's a baby, you kill the baby. Oh my God. Wow. I don't think he would say something like that, and not be capable of doing it. He didn't believe in the individual, but in the larger picture. Another acquaintance recalled the entire Manson situation, the Black Panther movement, and probably similar other movements. People like that were discredited by certain things that, according to Reeve, may have been staged or done by the government authorities in order to make them look bad. But if I could find out where Whitson's money came from, I might be closer to understanding what he actually did. His resume was scant from the 50s through the 70s, after which it covered more ground than seemed possible for a single life. He was the special advisor to the chairman of the board of Thyssen, among the largest corporations in Germany. He sank years into a scheme to construct a maglev monorail train stretching from Las Vegas to Pasadena. He wanted to build a Brigadoon theme park in Scotland. He was involved in weapon manufacturing, early iterations of the Miss Universe pageant, and a new variety of child-proof medicine bottles. And he had a passion for race cars, building them, selling them, driving them, which may explain how he befriended Jay Sebring, another racing enthusiast. These ventures had one thing in common: they fell through. The easiest explanation, of course, was that they were covers, and sometimes Whitson told his friends as much. So where did his money come from? No one knew. He always paid in cash. He stowed it in his freezer, and when he had it, he was quick little with tab. Whitson dressed in gabardine suits like a hermit, sleeping on a cot in his parents' kitchen. The man who led fast cars drove an economical Ford Pinto. In his final years, Whitson was destitute and disgruntled, telling rueful stories of the quarry, his term for the section of the CIA he worked for, and trash talking the agency. Once you're in, he told one friend, you really are a pawn. In his dying days, the government had said, you didn't even exist to us, even the movie for no reprieve, offering reminders of his glory days. About a year before he died, seeing the thriller, The Pelican Brief, Whitson leaned over in the dark of the cinema and told his friend, I wrote the yellow papers on everything that happened. With a hint of nostalgia, he explained that yellow papers detailed interrogation techniques, including a procedure in which a man had a plastic tube inserted in his rectum, peanut butter smeared on his scrotum, and a rat wrapped in the tube. Okay. Whitson died at the relatively young age of 63. With no health insurance, he left behind an enormous unpaid hospital bill, something to the tune of $500,000. Holy hell. A few of my sources felt there may have been foul play. He'd given conflicting explanations of his health problems: a heart attack, or a spider bite, or a brain tumor, or lymphoma. I think he committed suicide, his daughter told me. His greatest fear was to be a vegetable. Coda, neither confirm nor deny. Reed Whitson was a walk-in, as one of my sources put it, an extraterrestrial. Once he consumed me, I found myself fixating on possibilities that I would have dismissed as insane only months before. His life opened into advantage of intrigue, where Manson and the 60s counterculture were just one element in a political struggle that encompassed Nazis, Cuba, Vietnam, South America, military intelligence, and Byzantine matters of national security. But Whitson was too much. The mystery man he said he was to be, he brought my reporting to a standstill. At a certain point, I felt I learned everything I could about him without tapping official sources. I'd attempted to find his tax records and asked reporters with strong connections at Langley if they could look him up. They never found anything. FOIAs to the FBI, the Secret Service, the DEA, the ATF, and the IRS, and the military all got responses that said they had nothing to do with it. It was only the CIA that gave me the neither confirm nor deny response. Later, responding to my appeal, it wrote that Whitson had no open or officially acknowledged relationship with the Central Intelligence Agency. I worry that I'll never know the truth about Reed Whitson. There is, of course, a possibility that he was little more than an effective con artist, someone who weaseled his way into a minor role in the Manson investigation by sweet-talking people into power, someone who's constantly implying to his friends that he's in the CIA may not be very effective as an undercover agent. If Whitson was truly a high-functioning member of the intelligence community, would anyone have had any idea? On the other hand, maybe the stories I heard are fundamentally correct. Whitson was an intelligence agent who led a storied international career, and he was exaggerating when he said that he could have stopped the Manson murders. If that was true, what then? Why would the CIA or any intelligence group have had Whitson infiltrate the family, and what did Manson know about it? The line was, I learned just enough about Whitson to dwell on him. It was, as his daughter said, he gives a little and then he goes away. Chapter 7, Neutralizing the Left. Dawn of the campus malcontents. I couldn't expect to report on the likes of Reed Whitson or on outrageous claims about intelligence connections and military figures until I learned more about the politics and pressures of California in the 60s. My research was pushing me toward broader connections and social implications. I didn't always know what to do with them. If Preston Gilmore was correct, For instance, that LASO knew about Manson's plan to attack the Black Panthers. How could the police have known, and why would they have wanted that attack to happen? I had a vague notion of the tension between the Panthers and the government, but I couldn't say how it fit in the larger context of protest in the 60s, when the nation's unrest had crystallized in California. The state was the epicenter of the Summer of Love, but it also seen the ascent of Reagan. It has seen the Watts riots, the birth of the anti-war movement and the Altamont concert disaster, the free speech movement, and the Hells Angels. Here, defense contractors, cold warriors, and nascent tech companies just down the road from hippie communes, love-ins, and surf shops. It was, if there was any truth to Reeve Whitson's story, I need a crash course in the government's involvement in anti-left action in California, and solid sources to tell me how Manson could have been swept in it. I focused on 2 secret intelligence operations that were underway in Los Angeles in 1969. The FBI's, CONTELPRO, and CIA's, and Chaos. The primary objective, according to 3 congressional committees that investigated them in the mid-70s, was to discredit the left-wing movement by any means necessary. A name that, coincidentally or not, described effectively the effect of the Manson murder. The 60s Youth Movement was born on May 13, 1960. When hundreds of demonstrators, most of them UC Berkeley students, began a 2-day protest at San Francisco City Hall. The House Committee on Un-American Activities had convened a series of hearings there, and students were chagrined to learn that they were barred from the proceedings. A riot broke out as police turned fire hoses on the protesters. The intense pressure forcing them down the building's imposing marble stairway. Police clubbed protesters and made 61 arrests, including 30 students. Black Friday, as it came to be known, marked the end of the 50s, the dawn of a new age of dissent. The following day, the demonstrators returned undeterred, this time totaling more than 5,000. The HCUA was cowed. Never again did it conduct hearings beyond the capital J. Edgar Hoover, the director of the FBI. Couldn't believe the left had such strength in numbers. He was convinced that foreign communists sponsored the movement. Thus began a pitched battle between federal law enforcement and young subversives. In the mid-60s, with the war in Vietnam escalating, Berkeley became a hotbed of anti-war activity. Sit-ins were staged on campus, rallies held throughout the Bay Area, each growing in size and fervor. Late into 1964, some 1,500 students crowded into Berkeley's Sproul to protest the university's mistreatment of campus activists. More than 700 of them were arrested that day. 700. On January 28, 1965, distraught Hoover met with the director of the CIA, John McCone, hatching a plan to take corrective action at Berkeley. The CIA's charter prohibited the agency from domestic operations, but McCone collaborated with Hoover nonetheless, hoping to squash the protests. One of their targets was Kerr, the president of UC Berkeley, who was widely perceived as sympathetic to the protesters. McCone and Hoover circulated false information claiming that he had been a communist too. They also targeted faculty supporters of the demonstrators and the student-led leaders themselves. A few months later, McCone resigned from the CIA, having felt unappreciated by President Lyndon Johnson. His next job brought him back to California. He took a post on Ronald Reagan's gubernatorial campaign, shoring up the candidate's credibility with bright learning voters. Reagan campaigned fervently against the so-called New Left, vowing a swift end to California's burgeoning anti-war movement. Without citing evidence, he claimed that Berkeley's had suffered reduced enrollment as a risk of the protesters. Destructive conduct. If elected, he said he would appoint McCone to lead a formal investigation of the university's campus malcontents and filthy speech advocates. Reagan won by a landslide. As he cemented his power, anti-war sentiment continued to flower at Berkeley. In April 1970, soon to win a second term, Reagan famously declared war against the movement. If it takes a bloodbath, let's get it over with, he announced. No more appeasement. The Oval Office was similarly disturbed by the rise of student activism. By 1967, Lyndon Johnson believed that the country was on the verge of political revolution that toppled him from power. Having mirrored the nation even further by the Vietnam War, he faced constant jeers and rallies. Hey, LJ or LBJ, how many kids did you kill today? As anti-war demonstrators spilled from the campuses into the streets, Johnson ordered the FBI and the CIA to take action. That August, with the president's approval, CIA Director Richard Helms authorized the illegal domestic surveillance program, codename Chaos. Meanwhile, J. Edgar Hoover retrieved the FBI's dormant counterinsurgency program, COINTELPRO. Both agencies opened the first offices of their respective operations in San Francisco, still considered ground zero for the revolution, especially since the founding of the Black Panther Party in nearby Oakland this previous summer. Thanks to these two secret programs and their network of well-placed informants, there was a war raging in California by the summer of 1969. The FBI and CIA induced the left to feed on itself. Among competing factions, what had been sectarian strife had devolved into outright violence. This is gonna die. So especially since the founding of the Black Panther Party in nearby Oakland last summer. The more I read about it, the more I saw how someone like Charles Manson could fit into a scheme like this. I was only speculating, but I knew that he had spent a lot of time in Berkeley, San Francisco, and Los Angeles, often inveighing against the Black Panthers, and I had reliable sources suggesting that he was an informant, or at least hanging around with others who could have been. It struck me that the Tate LaBianca murders had been so often invoked as the death knell of the 60s. Arguably, they did more than any other event to turn the public opinion against hippies, recasting the peace and love flower power ethos as a thing of latent drug-addled criminality. As the writer Todd Giltland noted for the mass media, the acid head Charles Manson was ready-made as the moth lurking in the heart of every long hair. Hey, Deb. How you going there, girl? What's this? Wasn't this the goal of chaos and COINTELPRO? No, don't worry. You gotta do you, girl. It was the sound connection in theory. To report it, to take it out of the realm of the hypothetical, seemed an impossible task for someone with no background in national security. But I had to try. And so feeling the line between researcher and conspiracy theorist blurring before me, I hunkered down in the library to read about the many ways our government has deceived us. Forming violence and unrest. Nope. Fomenting violence and unrest. The FBI and the CIA launched their counterintelligence programs in the same month. On August 25th, 1967, J. Edgar Hoover issued a memorandum to the chiefs of each of the FBI field offices in the United States. The objective of COINTELPRO, the name was an abridgment of counterintelligence program. First launched in 1956 to increase factionalism among communists in the United States. COINTELPRO had been activated on and off throughout the early 60s, often to vilify civil rights leaders, Martin Luther King Jr., most prominent among them. In a 67 memo, Hoover formed a new branch of the operation, aiming to expose, disrupt, misconduct, misdirect, discredit, or otherwise neutralize the activities of Black nationalists, hate-type organizations. The activities of all such groups of intelligence interest to this borough must be followed on a continuous basis. Efforts of various groups to consolidate their forces or to recruit new or youthful adherents must be frustrated. No opportunity should be missed to exploit the organizational and personal conflicts of the leadership of the groups and to capitalize upon existing conflicts between competing Black nationalist organizations. However, specified more than 20 cities where COINTELPRO methods could be put to effective use, Los Angeles among them. In a later memo, he ordered the borough to pinpoint potential troublemakers and neutralize them before they exercise their potential for violence. Informants were COINTELPRO's lifeblood, providing the only effective way for the FBI to learn about and exert influence on the groups it hoped to discredit. The borough went to extreme lengths to cultivate solid informants if it found a convict willing to infiltrate the political group. communicate or commute the his prison existence. In Quantico, Virginia, at the sprawling Marine Corps base where the FBI would soon open its own academy, a less formal Hoover University trained agents in the delicate art of passing as leftists. They grew unkept beards, refrained from bathing for days at a time, parroted radical thinking points, got stoned, and tripped on acid. Hey, Jill. Oh, that's awesome. In the Black Panther Party and in Los Angeles, the U.S. organization informants were instrumental in fomenting violence. They would spread disinformation to catalyze the intergroup rivalry, or they'd simply arrange for the bloodshed themselves. Founded by Huey Newton and Bobby Seale in Oakland in 1966, the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense, commonly known as the Black Panther Party, had become the bête noire of federal law enforcement. From Hoover on down, the FBI's ranks saw the group as a threat to the national order rivaled by communism and nuclear holocaust. Originally, the Panthers served to safeguard Oakland's Black residents from overzealous policing. They promoted lawful armed self-defense in inner-city neighborhoods, and their social outreach programs brought meals and health care to those who couldn't afford them. Their 10-point program demanded power to determine the density of our Black community. But as the party grew in size and prominence, opening chapters in nearly every major city in the United States and embraced more militant action against the long-arm law enforcement, starting in Oakland. In 1967, Newton shot and killed a cop during a traffic stop. In 1968, Eldridge Cleaver, who headed the Panthers Ministry of Information, was in a firefight during which he and two cops suffered gunshot wounds, and a 17-year-old Panther was killed. That same year, the violence found its way to Los Angeles, as gunfights led to 4 Panthers' deaths. By 1969, the Panthers had been involved in more than a dozen shootouts with police, some the results of ambushes, fearing infiltration by informants. The party began to implode, purging members and, in one notorious case, torturing and killing a 19-year-old member suspected of being a snitch. Their paranoia was far from unfounded. Hoover's FBI chalked up the internal strife, not to mention the rash of deaths, as a victory. COINTELPRO promised the violent repudiation of what Hoover had dubbed a hate-type organization. The borough's strategy was merciless, and results disastrous but not effective. In Chicago, famously, the FBI recruited William O'Neill, recently charged with impersonating a federal officer and driving a stolen car across state lines to infiltrate the Panthers' Illinois chapter, for giving those charges in exchange for his services. Soon, O'Neill became the person bodyguard of Fred Hampton, the chapter's chairman. O'Neill's post allowed him to provide the borough with a steady stream of intelligence, including detailed floor plans of Hampton apartment. Although he found no evidence that Hampton or the group posed a threat to anyone's safety, O'Neill continued to inform. In December 1969, days, coincidentally, after Manson was charged in the Tate LaBianca murders, O'Neill slipped a barbiturate into Hampton's drink over dinner. By the end of the night, the police had raided Hampton's apartment and shot him twice in the head at point-blank range. O'Neill was one of many such informants around the country. In Hampton's death, one of many such deaths, the FBI's role may never have come to light if not for the Citizens Committee to investigate the FBI, an audacious crew of activists, burglars who took it upon themselves to break into a small FBI field office in Media, Pennsylvania, just west of Philadelphia. One night in March 1971, the group took a crowbar to that office's deadbolt door, stuffing suitcases with papers revealing the FBI's domestic spying, which they soon parceled out to the press. Hoover was in high dudgeon. The group's methods were straight out of the FBI playbook. They cased the office for months, sending a woman disguised in as a college student to get a sense of the building's security. In his fury, Hoover allocated some 200 agents to track down the burglars, but they were never found. Only in 2014 did they reveal themselves. They were motivated, they said, by sense by the government that the government had lied to them about Vietnam and that conventional protests have been proven useless. The existence of COINTELPRO was the single most earth-shaking revelation in the stolen documents, among which was Hoover's incendiary 67 COINTELPRO memo, the one in which he pledged to discredit and neutralize leftist organizations. With his pet project exposed, Hoover took steps to end COINTELPRO, but the burglary inaugurated a spat of whistleblowing that undetermined the FBI's credibility over the next few years. Congressman Hale Boggs, the House Majority Leader, compared the FBI to the secret police, conceding that even Congress lived in fear of them, and that they'd hasten the growth of a vine of tyranny. Lawsuits brought under the Freedom of Information Act forced the Attorney General to reveal more incriminating FBI files. By 1975, anti-intelligence sentiment was so high that Congress formed a committee to scrutinize the borough. Led by Senator Frank Church of Idaho, the committee's investigation exposed FBI duplicity on a scale that had been unthinkable, even after the Pennsylvania burglary. The Church's committee's findings, published in 76, gave the nation its first glimpse of the astonishing success that Hoover's counterintelligence operation had seen. So because they didn't see eye to eye, he just demolished them all, or tried to. As reported in the New York Times that May, the committee's final report determined that the FBI headquarters approved more than 2,300 actions in a campaign to disrupt and discredit American organizations, ranging from the Black Panthers to Antioch College, and that the borough may have violated special criminal statutes and pursuing actions that involved risk of serious bodily injury or death to targets. The Church Committee noted that COINTELPRO encompassed a staggering range of targets, and that the FBI's deployment of dangerous, degrading, or blatantly unconstitutional techniques appears to have become less restrained with each subsequent program. Hoover has specifically requested that these techniques be imaginative and hard-hitting, and they were the FBI tried seemingly everything from gossip to gunfights. People mailed pejorative articles and newspaper clippings to college administrators. Its agents tried to destroy marriages by writing unsigned, malicious, rumor-mongering letters. They smeared leftists as informants when they weren't. And they stoked the flames of the Anderson complex until they grew into feuds. Wow. The committee detailed several of the FBI's exploits in Los Angeles, and by now I wasn't surprised by the scope of the operations described, especially the deadly ones, were equal parts sophisticated and reckless, with the borough taking great pains to insult informants and incite violence with no care for the consequences. I looked for any signs of Manson, no matter how tangible. Any pattern among the law enforcement, any familiar name. The most conspiratorial possibility, of course, would be that the FBI had carefully groomed Manson and pressed him into the vice as COINTELPRO informant. But I knew that was the longest of long shots. And if the facts didn't lead me there, I had no desire to force the connection. Given the FBI's sloppiness, I wondered if Manson could have been implicated in other more indirect ways, willingly or not. Maybe he wasn't an informant, but had been close to someone who was. Maybe someone like Reeve Whitson had influenced his actions from 2 or 3 degrees of removal. Maybe someone at the sheriff's office had assisted the FBI. I was encouraged by one simple fact. The FBI had behaved conspiratorially with COINTELPRO. Early and often, one of its greatest coups came in January 1969 when G-Men had incited the murder of Black Panthers on the UCLA campus. FBI infiltrators had lied to the Panthers' rivals, the U.S. organization, telling them that the Panthers were meeting on campus to plan their assassinations. U.S. responded by ambushing 2 Panthers at a Black student union meeting and shooting them dead. Oh my gosh. LASO knew that the Panthers were murdered because of the FBI's meddling. They didn't care. In fact, they hid the FBI's role in the violence. In their eyes, the most desirable outcome had been achieved. 2 Panthers were dead, 3 US gang members were in jail, and the American public was more fearful of Black militants. The FBI used the incident to spur more violence between US and the Panthers, according to a 1970 memo from the Los Angeles field office. The Los Angeles division is aware of mutually hostile feeding harbored between the organizations, and the first opportunity to capitalize on the situation be maximized. It is intended that the U.S. Inc. will be appropriately and discreetly advised of the time and location of BPP, Black Panthers Party, activities in order that the 2 organizations might be brought together, thus grant nature the opportunity to take her due course. The emphasis comes from the Church Committee, who noted that due course in this case meant nothing less than first-degree murder. The committee's final report blasted the FBI for its complicity in the deaths of the Panthers. The chief investigative branch of the federal government enraged in lawless tactics and responded to deep-seated social problems by fomenting violence and unrest, it wrote. Equally disturbing in the pride which those officials took in claiming credit for the bloodshed that occurred. Indeed, it seemed that wherever the FBI had made headway with its tactics, it doubled down. Rather than halt its provocations as the Panthers and the U.S. organization claimed each other's lives, the FBI escalated the campaign, spreading propaganda, including political cartoons designed to inflame violence. The FBI viewed this carnage as positive development. The Church Committee wrote, oh my God. Maybe the most lacerating testimony came from William Sullivan, a high-ranking FBI official who helped implement COINTELPRO before Hoover fired him in 1971. Sullivan had masterminded an episode in which Coretta King, Martin Luther King Jr.'s wife, received a recording in which her husband could be heard flirting with other women. Sullivan had deemed King a fraud, demagogue, and scoundrel. Now, before the Church Committee, he allowed that the FBI's ruthless pragmatism had obscured any sense of morality he and his colleagues might have had. Once he said, I hear anybody, including myself, raise the question, is this course of action which we have agreed upon lawful? Is it legal? Is it ethical? Is it moral? The one thing we were concerned about was this. Will the course of action work? Will it get us what we want? COINTELPRO's excesses were well documented, but the FBI's director, Clarence M. Kelly, who succeeded Hoover, refused to admit wrongdoing, defending the operations as necessary precaution against violent extremists who hoped to bring America to its knees. He added, for the FBI to have done less under the circumstances would have been an abdication of its responsibilities to the American people. Holy shit. So they encouraged this war. This wasn't just Manson, right?
No, it was encouraged. No, it was encouraged.
That's scary.
I think they used him as a pawn, but I think that he was more involved with, like, just by some of the things you just read. It's not a real far leap to say that they wouldn't drag him to use him to whatever benefited them.
That's what that's what I'm pretty much trying to say. Like, it was started by the government. They included Manson to help promote this because they knew that he had a gang. They knew it was a cult. They knew that he could do, like, what the, wow. And so they allowed for the murders of Sharon Tate, and wow, this is fucked up.
But what I think happens too is that too many cooks in the kitchen kind of thing. Like, it got out of hand and they didn't know how to put out the fires because everybody was in one direction saying one thing and going in another. Even within this little incident here, they were backbiting each other, calling each other, saying it was this person's fault, was this person's fault. And then even going interpersonal, like with Martin Luther King's wife, why would anybody care or send information just to rile her up because he was an advocate for Black people? So you want to have strife in his own family? It's like, what won't they do to cause more?
Yeah, like that. Even placing phone calls so that the Panthers would die.
Yeah.
And that wasn't even what they were doing. Like, that is some sick crap. Just gonna read one more part. And then, oh boy, I did want to show something. I'll do it in a minute. Lined up against the wall with the rest of the whites. When Hoover reconstituted COINTELPRO, he was already worried that America's Black militants would be embraced by liberal whites. You think? I bet they were. Especially in a left-leaning place like Hollywood. In the August 1967 memo reanimating the counterintelligence program, he noted the importance of preventing militant Black nationalist groups and leaders from gaining respectability. Wow. They must be discredited to the white community, both the responsible community to the liberals, who have vestiges of sympathy for militant Black nationalists simply because they are Negroes. That's fucking bad. And wow. 2 years later, the Panthers have become almost synonymous with Hollywood's liberal elite. Actresses such as Jane Fonda and Gene Seberg appeared at the rallies. Good. Hoover felt he had to widen the chasm between blacks and whites in Los Angeles. In a November 1968 memo, an LA field agent discussed new efforts to spread disinformation to Hollywood's liberal whites. These people are disgusting. Nice government. In the context of the Tate LaBianca murders, the memo is chilling. Remember the Tate House? Yeah, remember, the Tate House by then had become a high-profile gathering place for liberal Hollywood, among others, for Fonda, Kathy, and Mark Beatty, all three of whom were under FBI surveillance. Abigail Folger, who would die at the hands of the family, was an outspoken civil rights activist. That year, she campaigned for Tom Bradley, the first African American candidate for mayor of Los Angeles. Many in the Polanski Tate crowd belonged to the White Panther Party, explicit allies of the Black Panthers, or to the Peace and Freedom Party of California, which also voiced its support. The FBI, according to the memo, planned to generate distrust through disinformation. The Peace and Freedom Party, the PFP, has been furnishing the BPP with financial assistance. An anonymous letter is being prepared for the borough approval to be sent to the leader of the Panthers, in which it set forth that the BPP has made statements in closed meetings that when the armed rebellion comes, the whites and the PFP will be lined up against the wall with the rest of the whites. Emphasis mine. The FBI would make it seem as if sympathetic leftists were in the Panthers' crosshairs. Less than a year after this memo was written, Manson's followers lined up for 4 denizens of liberal Hollywood in Roman Polanski's home, cut them to pieces, leaving slogans of blood to implicate the Black Panthers. Of course, the FBI couldn't have done this work alone. They needed local law enforcement on their side, and according to the church committee, they got it. The committee looked into one of the most notorious COINTELPRO actions in LA, the framing of Geronimo Pratt, Black Panther, and a decorated Vietnam vet. Pratt would be imprisoned for 27 years for a murder the FBI knew he didn't commit. Holy shit. He was in Oakland at the time of the crime, 400 miles away, at a Black Panther house that the borough had wiretapped. It had transcripts of a call he made to the Panthers headquarters in Los Angeles just hours before the murder. Still, borough agents enlisted a federal informant to lie on the stand about Pratt's involvement. Even before the frame-up, FBI gunmen had attempted to kill Pratt by shooting at him through the window of his apartment. He survived only because a spine injury he sustained in the war made it more comfortable to sleep on the floor. Wow. Pratt was serving a life sentence when the church committee released its landmark findings, confirming what he'd long suspected. LASO and LAPD were complicit in the COINTELPRO operation. The committee quoted a report that the FBI's Los Angeles outpost had sent Hoover himself, advising that the Los Angeles field office of the FBI is furnishing on a daily basis information to the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Office Intelligence Division and the Los Angeles Police Department Intelligence and Criminal Conspiracy Divisions concerning the activities of Black nationalist groups in the anticipation that such information might lead to the arrest of the militants. By the church committee's estimation, this meant that Los Angeles law enforcement was guilty of obstructing justice and hindering prosecution. Oh my God. Manson didn't start this fucking race war at all. It was the government. I can't. Wow. Whoa. I don't know what to say.
It makes a scary picture for today.
It's scary. It does. Because if they could do that back in the 60s, start a race war just because, why? They're racist?
And with all the technology that we have today, the spy cam and all that, I mean, it's just, it's unlimited list what they could do.
It's free. Like, if they wanted to put me in jail, they could just tell them I did whatever. Oh my. Wow. You know, I get Bugliosi lying and getting away with shit. Like, that's bad enough. But this is involving people we're supposed to trust and respect. So is Bugliosi. This is a hell of a lot worse.
And it gets worse.
My God. I can't remember what I wanted to show you. Oh yeah, there's a spirit box session that I wanted to hear real quick. It's by Gold Rush Paranormal. It's really neat. Is that
What's
it?
it? Whose is it?
Um, it's by a channel called Gold Rush Paranormal,
Mm-hmm.
and he did like a session, and you can actually hear her voice. Hold on.
Was it a session we was trying to reach a specific person, or was it just?
Yeah, it was for her. There it is. It's 17 minutes long, but I won't. I did show this one before, like a lot of the stuff I've showed from last time. I don't know, I want to share it again because it was really interesting. I really like this guy. You should check him out. It's his channel is Gold Rush Paranormal, and he made this thing. Hopefully he explains it. I can't remember what the hell he calls it. What does he call that damn thing? Infinity some yeah, what is it? Infinity something. Where is it? Where are you?
The spirit box?
No, it's like an infinity thing. It's bizarre. He made it himself, and it's awesome. He uses ITC or instrumental transcommunication with what I believe are spirits. I've been doing this for many years, and yes, all spirit communication attempts are 100% real. Done with the utmost respect, love, and compassion. Where the hell? I hope he says what it's called because he usually uses it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Costas here from Gold Rush Paranormal. Thank you so much for tuning in. It was in 1969. She was Sharon
Right.
Tate. Sharon Tate was an American actress and model who tragically became a victim of the notorious Manson family murders in 1969. She was brutally murdered at her Los Angeles home while she was 8 months pregnant. The Manson family, a cult led by Charles Manson, carried out a series of gruesome killings with Tate and several others becoming their victims. The shocking and senseless nature of her death shook Hollywood and the public, leaving a lasting impact on popular culture and crime history. Now, I do have to let you all know that I went into this session not knowing exactly if I was going to be able to make contact, but almost immediately I felt a connection with Sharon Tate, and you're going to see here in just a moment just how clear and direct her responses were. Now, if this is your first time here and you are interested in anything paranormal, ITC, or spirit communication related, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can be notified when I release. Sharon, are you here right now?
Sorry.
Sharon, are you? I'm looking to speak to Sharon Tate.
Oh, this was a new one.
Sharon, are you here right now? It is almost sound like right now. Okay, you are here.
Like what this thing is he actually built it. There's like crystals on it, and then he can change like the channels. It's like some sort of infinity portal. That's what he calls it.
Here, that is correct.
He uses
Hi.
it as a conductivity.
Where are you right now, Sharon? Are you?
Yeah, he's sensing. He's like an empath, but even a bit more. He actually does one with Shanann Watts, and her children and her come through. I swear it's her. You can hear her. You can hear the kids. It's wow. She's pissed. She's pissed off.
I'd be pissed off too.
Yeah, she's pissed off. Like her life was cut short because of that fucker.
You here in this room with me, or are you communicating with me from somewhere else?
No.
Are you here, Sharon Tate, in this room with me, or are you communicating from somewhere else? Sharon, do you want to talk about your story a little bit? What happened to you on the night of your passing? Yes. Wow. Okay. I didn't expect that response so clearly. Thank you. Thank you,
Me
Sharon.
neither. This one's new. There's another one that he did, and this is a new Infinity Portal, but it was his old Infinity Portal that was a bit smaller. Interesting to say the least.
Sharon, can you provide any details of the events leading up to the night of August 9th, 1967? No? Did I hear you correctly? Did you say no?
I was gonna say, watch or say conspiracy.
Yes.
Wow.
Wow. Okay, so you don't want to talk about those events. And I am going to respect that. I want to make sure, I did have some questions that I was going to ask you about what happened, but it sounds to me like you would prefer not to speak about it. So I will respect that. And let me just ask you some general questions then. Can you tell us where you are right now? Are you able to give us any details about?
If she said around there. So if she means around where her home was, I mean, I believe that because everybody else is saying that it's haunted. What's going on? Oh, thanks, Teresa. It was so interesting to me when I first discovered him. Oh, so you know this guy was the spirits said they were waiting in a hallway for their turn to talk. After my mom passed, she kept telling me, never call her anymore. You did watch them? Watch the one if you guys haven't already on the older one he did on this of Sharon Tate, or even right, Colleen? Oh my God, Shannon Watts. That one's really good. I did a video or live with that, and I did show that. So if you want to see it, then
Oh, I'll watch that one.
see. Pardon?
I said I'll have to watch that one.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, you agree? Okay, so you like him too. I do too. I think he's very compassionate. I really enjoy his work.
Your experience when you crossed over to the other side?
Interesting.
Can you tell us who you saw first, Sharon, when you crossed over? Sharon, can you tell me how you have processed and dealt with your untimely death?
I think she might be confused.
Well, I'm asking if you can tell
Oh,
us
misunderstood.
on the other side where you are right now, how are you able to process and deal with crossing over at such a young age? Are you still here, Sharon?
Oh my God.
Watch this short presentation until
What
the
did
end
she
for
say?
details on how to get started in less than 7
What did she say?
I am sorry. I was talking with my baby.
Sharon, can you tell us what it's like on the other side?
Maybe she's stuck.
Can you tell us what it's like on the other side where you are right now? Are you in a good place, Sharon? Not sure what I heard there. And I apologize, Sharon, if I don't understand everything right now. I will review this later. You can rest assured that I will do my best to interpret your messages as clearly as possible. Sharon, how has your perspective changed between living here on Earth and the afterlife?
It's
Are
so
you in a good
amazing.
place?
Wow. It's full of love.
Sharon, what advice would you give to those of us that are still living here in this realm?
Look at the sky. Wow.
Not sure what was
That's
said
pretty
there.
cool.
I'm really looking forward to hearing, though, what you said. It sounded like something important there. Would you say you're happier on the other side than you were here when you were living in this realm?
You'll see the light.
Does the whole soul go with a reincarnation, or do bits and pieces of our souls stay on the other side? Sharon, have you found peace and closure on the other side? Yes, I'm something. Wow. Thank you so much. You're coming in very clearly. Unfortunately, I can't always make out everything that's being said in real time. Sharon, are you aware of the impact that you have had on people here that are living on Earth right now? On popular culture, are you aware of the impact that your life and death have had on us?
He also did Kobe Bryant. Um, I'll show you after just some of the ones that he did.
Sharon, have you encountered any other individuals on the other side, any other souls?
My mother.
Who are you with on the other side? Are you with your husband, Roman? Do you still visit your loved ones here on Earth, Sharon? I'm not sure if I heard you right. Do you still visit any of your loved ones here on Earth?
Considering what her husband Roman did to her, you would think that she'd be like, to hell with him. But I almost feel like when you die, like all that hatred and all that angst, all that stuff just kind of drifts away and you forgive. I don't know. That's what I think. I could be wrong, but that's the only thing that makes sense for me, for her.
Can you give any names of any individuals that you visit?
Whoa.
I'm standing there. That's
Hi,
almost what it
Amanda.
sounds like. Sharon, how would you like to be remembered here by those that never had the opportunity to get to know you personally? How would you like to be remembered?
What? They see you're not
Sharon,
always
can you
dead.
describe any form of reality or your existence on the other side? Have you met up with any of the individuals that were involved in your passing? Have you met up with any of their souls?
You know what? She's
Something like, you know
cute.
what? Something like that. Is that okay if I ask you that? Have you met
I
up
agree,
with any of the
Colleen.
souls that were involved in your passing?
I don't care. Oh my gosh. No, I'm happy to hear that.
Can you tell us who you have met up with? Have you been able to forgive any souls, anybody that may have hurt you while living here on Earth?
See, that's what I thought.
Sharon, do you have any messages for your loved ones here? that are still living? Yes? What would you like to say?
Get out.
Is there anything important you would like to say to them?
Aw.
Sharon, do you feel like you were able to accomplish everything that you needed to while living here in this realm? Sharon, is there anything that you would like to say to those that remember and honor your life here in the present day? Is there anything that you would like to say to them?
Wow. That I am with you. I was enough? Holy hell.
This is the story of the award-winning, chef-approved Always Pan that sold out over 30.
Almost like something enough. It was enough, or I was enough. I'm not sure if you're answering the question, my previous question, where I asked if you
His name is
feel
Costa.
like you've accomplished everything in life. And that's something I should let you all know, that spirits do tend to read my thoughts, and they will sometimes answer questions before I even ask them, or sometimes the responses are delayed a little bit, and they may come 30 seconds or a minute later than when I've asked it. So we have to keep that in mind when we're reviewing these sessions. I'm going to let you go right now, Sharon. Do you have anything else you would like to say?
Wow.
I will review
That's so
that,
cool.
Sharon. I apologize for not understanding live what is being said. Keep in mind, everybody, anything that I use going through my portal or any device that I use is basically essentially all gibberish. So it's scrambled up gibberish. I've explained this many times in the past, and it's the souls that I'm speaking to. It's their job essentially to manipulate those frequencies in order to get their messages across. So if we're not hearing anything that is being said, or if it just sounds like gibberish, then there may not be something there. But if we do get a clear message, that's spirit coming through. All right. Is that how it works, Sharon? Sharon, are you okay? Sharon, are you okay? Is it okay if I go ahead and complete the session now? Yes. Okay. Thank you. I'll give you another opportunity here, Sharon. If there's anything else you would like to say at this time, please do so now.
What's it for? She's probably like, what is this?
Sharon, where are you off to next? Can you tell us, are you in the light? Oh, okay. It almost sounded like a personal message. I'm gonna have to review that. Okay. Thank you, Sharon. If there's anything else you'd like to say, Sharon, please do so now.
Whoa. There she is. Move, you're in danger. Jeez. Hi, SD. You've been trying to multicast the crow. I'm trying to multicast. Oh my god, my son went out as the crow. This not Halloween. Yeah, I love that movie. I got it for Christmas. You're in the kitchen cooking? Absolutely. Yeah, I think so too. They probably do, Jill. They're probably like, oh, like because they don't understand, but we don't understand them either. No, I really like this guy. He's pretty impressive. I really like him. Just gonna show you something. I swear there was one. What is this one? Natalie Holloway. That's 3 months ago. He's got so many. Oh yeah, that's one to watch, the Alien one. The Necrometer Spirit Box. That's the app I have, is a Necrometer. Or I did have. I think I got rid of it. It annoyed me. There's Kobe. He did it again. Kobe as my spirit guide.
I used to have runes and tarot cards, and one girl that I thought was my friend stole them. And I told her,
No.
I said, if you use them, you're gonna get bad luck. And she didn't believe me, but she did.
That's what they say. Oh, there's Lisa Marie Presley. There's another Kobe and his daughter. The Idaho 4. Who are these people? All the Idaho 4. Princess Diana's message to Kate Middleton. Ugh, coworker. Aaron Carter, I did watch that one. I forget already though. Anne Hesh. Succubus from Hell. Oh yeah. I didn't watch that one. I wanted to. Forgot. You have to watch that after. There's Summer Moon. Gabby Petito. I thought I watched all Gabby. I guess not. I watched a couple. Even Brittany Murphy. This case here. So Kylan and Crystal, they got married and they were both shot and they were murdered in the same area as Gabby. Because I
Oh, the
remember
couple?
thinking, yeah, I was thinking like, well, what if it's related? It's got to be related, but no, as we found out, her shitty boyfriend did it to her, then unalived himself. Apparently. That case still bugs me. I was watching it and covering at the time, and it was a hard one. Amy Winehouse, Madeline McCann, yeah. What is it? Biggie, Delphi murders. All right, where is she? Shannon Watts. That's the one right here. Improv 2 visit. Yeah, she just came in there, I guess. Then there's another one. And she's a talker too. She doesn't shut up. She's always yapping. It's cute though. You can actually hear her. There's a few of them in here. Michael Jackson, XXS Tentacion. Debbie Constantino.
Ended up killing her, her 2 daughters, as I take it in unmistakable. So let's go ahead and get started.
Okay, there's a recording first, which I find kind of annoying and boring.
My PSP7 in quiet mode in conjunction.
Plus, I want you guys to watch it on your own.
With my radio.
See, that's his.
My Hack Shack radio.
That was his infinity portal, this little tiny thing. Now he's got that big one.
And my digital recorder. And I did capture her name. If it was, can you come through, please?
So weird, eh? This one looks cool. Like just the little contraption.
Hello? Did you hear that? Hello? Shanann, are you here? Shanann, I believe I heard you say hello. Can you confirm, are you here with me right now?
All right, Colleen.
Yes. Wow. Thank you so much.
Yeah, some of them are sketchy, SD.
Thank you so much. Shanann, are you with your daughters, Cece and Bella, and your unborn child? I believe you had a name for him, Nico.
Yeah, Nico.
Having a little difficulty.
I'm here with Nick.
Okay, you came through pretty good there. I'm not sure what you said though. It's my fault. I was talking over you. I watched your story recently, And I'm very sorry about what happened to you. Very sad what happened. You had your whole life ahead of you. Shanann,
He's
where are you
pissed
right
off
now?
too. You can hear it. He's talking.
You're here? Okay, thank you. Seems like you're coming through better right now. I was having a little difficulty. You can hear. Wow. Thank you so much. She just said, Elsa, come to mommy, which is in reference to her daughter Bella wanting to be Elsa from the movie Frozen when she grew up.
Yeah.
Was Shanann asking Bella to come to her? Let's find out. Getting the chills right now. If you've never experienced this, guys, I mean, it's absolutely nuts. How does it feel to come through and speak to us from the other side?
That is so cute.
Shanann, are you with your... Did she say, here's Bella? Are your children there with you? They're here, I think she said. Cece, if any of you want to speak, you can come forward. Shanann, do you have any messages for your family,
Her brother.
your friends? I'm here. I'm here. I'm not able to understand everything you're saying 100%. But I will review this. I will review it. Shanann, can you tell us anything about what happened that day? That where your husband,
Wow.
where he killed you? Yes. Is this something that you want to talk
She's
about?
mad. Yeah, she's
Is,
pissed.
is it hurtful to talk about it? Because if it is, we okay. Are you at peace on the other side?
No.
Do you have any messages for your parents?
Wow. Sherry said, hey, Mom. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Wow.
Wish I could understand more.
Here's one thing you need to do before buying anything online. Don't spend another dime on Amazon until you watch.
I'm using your voice here, and I'm basically gonna, just so everybody knows, I'm basically chopping up her voice. I'm mixing it up, reversing it, making it pretty much very difficult for any false positives. So
Hey, Nick.
let's
Yeah.
try this out here.
I gotta go because my nephew's calling me. So,
Oh, okay. I'm going to be done after this anyways.
okay. Thank you, though.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Yeah, no problem. Bye.
Is this easier for you to come through?
Wow.
Okay. Is there anything you'd like to say about what happened that day? Can you shed any light on any details, anything that you'd like to say, or are you pretty much at peace right now and would rather not speak about it?
Wow.
Do you have any messages, Shanann, for Chris?
Say I'm out.
Any messages for your parents? Are you in a good place right now, Shanann? Do you have any messages for Chris? All right. I'm going to close the session out right now. If there's anything else you'd like to say at this time, please do so now.
Wow.
Goodbye for now. Goodbye.
You guys gotta watch those. They're really good. He's off to bed. Gotta go feed kitties. Yesterday was heartbreaking, so we're waiting for getting extra. Yeah. I glanced at your message and then I'm like, okay, I gotta flick this off my screen and that sucks. Well, I hope you guys have a great night. Yeah, check them out. The Gold Rush Paranormal. Teresa did Lincoln. Where is it? There it is. I hope you guys have a great night. I'll be back tomorrow again at 7 p.m. I'll do that every night, reading books. Just gonna keep going until I finish that one. Let me see. I'm just about halfway through. And you can see it, can you? Nope. You can't even see it. All right, you guys have a great night. I'll be back tomorrow at 7 p.m. Bye.
I know you told your friend you're not okay. And tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away.